So this summer I did a 10-week internship at Punchmark. They're a small web development company that specializes in making websites for retailers and vendors in the jewelry industry. Now, most of what I did working at Punchmark was API stuff like plugins for clients, stuff like Facebook feed, logins, Instagram, Yelp, Pinterest, and Google+. But in addition to learning about specific APIs, I got more comfortable working with PHP, MySQL, and just general web development practices and tools. However, the most valuable things that I learned from my experience at my first full-time web development job had nothing to do with programming. This summer, I learned 3 things that I know will change my life in one way or another. Number 1, the value of hard work. Now, I've always heard about the value of hard work, but it never really solidified itself in like what I do and how I think. Like, I used to have this idea that only poor people worked hard because that's all I ever saw growing up. And this summer I saw some really successful people working harder and longer and with more tenacity than anyone I've ever known before. When I look back at my experience this summer, if there was only one thing I could do differently, it would be just to work harder. I would have learned more, I would have done more, and I just would have made that much more of a difference in the company. You know, I think most people, including myself, when they hear hard work, it comes off as cliche. And this made me think that maybe I should listen extra hard to the cliche things in life, because after this summer I'm convinced that there's so much more to learn from cliche sayings like work hard. Number 2, I definitely want to start my own business. When I think of how I want to work in life, I simply cannot imagine being fulfilled like working on someone else's project. I like to make... Oh, camera. Every time. I like to make big decisions. I like to be in control. I like to lead. I like to direct and make change. And all I want to do is make something great, but most of all, like, I want to own it. I want it to be something that I built. That stuff is hard to do at a desk job. I think that the idea that knowing that if I don't go to work today, that my business will suffer, or that slacking off is hurting me directly, will keep me motivated and driven to work hard on something that I really do believe in. Number 3, just do it. Again, this one sounds cliche, thanks to a certain shoe manufacturer, but I learned from one of the owners themselves that the only way to start a business is just to do it. So one of the co-owners, named Ross, he told me that if I ever start my own business, to go all in, just to do it. He said that one of the biggest reasons that Punchmark was a success was very early on. He quit his job and devoted all his time to working on Punchmark. And for him, that was his only source of income. So he had that much more of a need to get more customers, to build his product, and just to make his business his passion. Now, I know I said I only learned 3 things this summer, but clearly that's not the case because I just thought of a 4th thing. So thing number 4, not all businesses have to be like game changers. So like Punchmark, they make websites for jewelers, and like there's nothing that special about that. There's other website companies much bigger than they are, much more revolutionary than they are. And there are even other website companies that specialize in building websites for people in the jewelry industry. So these guys are able to make themselves a living, like, beyond their means, by doing something that other people have already done. They just do it better, they just do it differently. You can just do something and just give it your own flavor, give it your own uniqueness. Overall, I'm super stoked at how this internship turned out. I'm super glad to have learned these types of things so early on in my career, and I'm hoping that I can look back at this video in the future and be reminded of these things that I learned this summer.